So I'm redoing 6A with you guys and B, and then I'll do C and D. So on this one, we know that the first term is 18, the last term is 72, and the common difference is 4.5. They're asking us for two things. They want the series, okay, and then they want the sum. So for the series is where we list out the terms with pluses. So the first term is 18. I am adding 4.5, so I get a 22.5. I add another 4.5, so my next term that I would have added on is a 27. And I keep on adding 4.5. So this would be 31.5 and so on until we get up to 72. That is the series. The sum is when I add all of these up, starting with 18 all the way up to the 72. Unfortunately, I do not know how many terms this is. I have no idea how many terms this is. That's what I need to find. Okay, so what I'm going to do is the following. Okay, I know that my nth term is equal to my first term plus my common difference times n minus 1. So if my last term is 72, and that's the term I'm trying to figure out what number it is, and my first term is 18, and I'm adding 4.5, n minus 1 times, this is what I'm going to solve. The first thing I'm going to do is I am going to subtract 18 from both sides. So when I subtract 18 from both sides, I get 54 equals 4.5 times n minus 1. I am then going to, instead of distributing, I'm going to divide by 4.5 both sides. And I get 12 is equal to n minus 1. So my n is going to be 13. So what that means is I know that this term is a sub 13. It's the 13th term. So when they are asking me to take this series and add it up to 72, okay, I'm going to make that a little better. I am going to be basically adding the first 13 terms because I know that that's my 13th term. So I'm going to find S sub 13 is equal to 13 divided by 2 times my first term, which is 18, and my last term, which is 72. So I'll write it in red. The formula I just used was S sub n. This is when I'm summing the first n terms. I take n over 2 times a1 plus an. Okay, that's what I'm working out right now. And so when I put that in my calculator, 18 plus 72 is 90. And I'm going to times that by 13 over 2. I end up getting as my answer that the sum of the first 13 terms, which is from 18 to 72 in my pattern above, in my series above, is equal to 585. That is my answer. Okay, on B. So this time we know we have 6 terms. Okay, we know we have 6 terms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I know I have 6 terms. And I know that the last one and the smallest term, it's the smallest one, is 21. So if it's the smallest one, it means that we are really subtracting, is what we should end happening here. We also know that the sum of these 6 terms, if I was to sum up these 6 terms, I am going to get 336. We want to know what is the series. I need to fill in all of those blanks. Okay, I know the sum of them. I don't know what I'm adding every time to generate these numbers. I also don't know the first term. But what I do know is that if I take S sub n, okay, the first n terms, adding up the first n terms, I take n over 2 times my first plus my last. So I do know little bits and pieces of this. I know that I want 336 as my sum. I know that that's 6 terms because it was S sub 6. Okay. So I'm going to take 6 over 2. I do not know my first term. I do know my last term. So this is going to be 336 is equal to 3 times A1 plus 21. I am going to divide both sides by the 3 instead of distributing. So I'm going to get 112 is equal to A1 plus 21. I am going to minus 21. So 112 minus 21 is 91. So that's my A1. So I know that this is going to be a 91. Now I need to figure out, well, what am I doing? Okay, what am I doing to get the rest of the terms? So this time what I'm going to do is I am going to use my A sub n. Okay, I know A sub n is equal to my first term plus some common difference times n minus 1. And I know my last term is 21. I know that my first term is 91. I know that that 21 is my 6th term. So since it's 6th term, I'm going to go 6 minus 1 or 5. Okay, so I know this is going to be 5 times my D. I'm going to minus 91 from both sides. I get a negative 70 is equal to 5D. I'm going to divide by 5, and I get a negative 14 is my D. So what that means is I'm going to be subtracting 14 in my pattern above. So I'm going to take 91 minus 14, which is 77. I'm going to minus 14, which is 63. I'm going to minus 14, which is 49. I'm going to minus 14, which is 35. And let's make sure we get to the 21. So if I minus 14 again, yes, I got 21. So this right here is going to be, oops, hold on, is going to be our series. Okay. So I had to use my summation one when I'm summing up the series and finding a particular term in the series, in the sequence. Okay. Next one. So on C, for this one, you know, the series has 9 terms in it. Okay, so I'm just jotting this down. You don't have to, especially if this is like 100 terms, but I just want everyone to understand. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, we want to find the series and we want to figure out the sum. Okay, well, I know that, again, there's 9 terms, and I know the last one is 18. Okay, they told me that. And we need to figure out what the series is and what the sum is. So since I have my 18, and I don't know my first term, and I don't know my common difference, I'm not going to start with that formula, not with my A sub n formula. I'm going to start with my S sub n formula. So S sub n is going to be equal to n, sorry, I know it's not even, so let me just write the formula. S sub n is equal to n over 2 times A1 plus A sub n. And I know that this right here is my 9th term. So I'm really going to be trying to figure out Hold on one second. Let's see. So I know that in this case, this S sub 9 is going to equal 9 over 2. My A1 I don't know. My AN I know is 18. Okay, so right now I have two unknowns. Okay, I have two unknowns. I don't know this, and I don't know this. Okay, and this one here is actually a 9. It may not look like a 9. Let me write that better. This is a 9. If I use my other formula, I know A sub n is equal to A1 plus D times n minus 1. Let's see if I get anywhere with this one. So in my case, I know that that term is 18. I don't know my first term. I don't know what I'm adding, but I do know that there's 9 of them. So this is going to be 9 minus 1 or 8D. So in this case, I have an A1 again, and I have a D. So in both cases, I end up where I cannot find one variable. I end up with 2 variables. So right here in the directions, it says, for each arithmetic series described below, write the series and calculate the sum if possible. If not possible, explain why not. So in this one, I've got too many unknowns. If I had known the sum, or if I had known the initial value, one of those, that would have been fine. Okay, over here, again, if I had known my D, my common difference, or my A1, then I would have been fine. If I had known one of those bits of information. Okay, so if I had known either my S sub n, which is my sum, my A sub 1, which is actually in either formula here, or my D, I could have solved. But what we have here is too many unknowns. Okay. On D, you know that the third term, so okay, the third term is 18. Oh, of an 18-term series. Okay, so we have the third term of an 18-term series is 29. So I know A sub 3 is 29. And I know there's 18 terms. And I know that the terms are increasing by 10. So I know my D is equal to 10. What is the series? What is the sum? Okay. So I could list this all out. Now we have 18 terms. They're not going to make us list out all 18 terms. So here I'm going to, and we need to go backwards, and maybe a couple ways you can do it. I think this one's doable because we've got A sub 3. Okay. So if my third term is 29, I know that my second term would have been, because I'm adding 10, so going backwards, I would have subtracted 10. And then I would have subtracted 10. So this would be my A1. This would be my A2. This would be my A3. And I keep adding 10 forever and ever and ever until I get to my 18th term. Now, if you want to sit here and keep doing this until you get to 18, you can, but I'm just going to algebraically figure out my 18th term. So A sub 18. It's going to be equal to my first term, which is 9, plus 10, because that's what I'm adding. And I add it one less than the term. So since it's 18 terms, this is going to be 17. So I am going to get 179. So this is going to be plus 179. That is my series. Okay, that is my series. Then they want us to figure out the sum of this series. So for that, here, I'll do that in purple. I am going to basically find S sub 20, S sub, how many terms? It was 18, right? 18. S sub 18. So S sub 18. And I know I have 18 terms divided by 2. I'm going to take my first term, which is 9, and my last term, which is 179, and I'm going to do that math. So 9 plus 179 is 188. Basically times 9, because that's what 18 over 2 is, I get 1,692. And that's my sum. So hopefully that helps.